everyone. Steph Lee, founder of Host Agency Reviews, and with me, Jenn Lee with Vacation Planners. We've got, well, when I say we, Jen's done all of the work, but I will be here asking questions. But Jenn has got a great webinar today on succession planning, what to do when you're ready to exit your business. And this, I am so excited to see what the audience's questions are and also to hear who the audience is, because this is not a webinar just for people that are ready to exit. This is something you should be building into your business from the very beginning and be aware of. Hello, Nicole from Nashville. Great to have you on.
Hello, Nicole.
Yes, so we're going to have a really chill format as usual. Jenn will have her slides, and then as you have questions, pop them into the comments, and we'll be asking Jenn. It'll be very, very conversational, very fun, I'm sure. So we're glad to have you on. If you are watching this and you've registered, you will get a link to the recording if you have to jump off early or whatnot. If you haven't registered yet, Mary will drop in the comments the register link, because that way, Jenn, would you be cool sharing the slides on this?
Of course, absolutely. I'm always willing to share. It's like my favorite thing to do.
So if you register, you will get the links because Jenn loves sharing.
I do. I love sharing. It's like one of my favorite things to do. And I'm very, I'm pumped for this topic because this is a topic that's actually near and dear to my heart. Mostly because 9 years ago when I entered the industry, I walked around coming from an entrepreneurial background, and I walked around and I was meeting advisors and agency owners, and they just did not have a clue. Like they were just so busy building their business, serving their clients, curating the experiences. They kind of like jumped into it. And I bet a lot of you guys that are watching, whether you're watching live or later on, nod your head if you're like, I'm in it, I'm building it, I'm doing it. But OMG, what happens next? What's the big plan? So let me do this. Let me share my screen. And this is always a challenge. Share screen. Okay. Securing. I did this. Oh my God.
Here we go.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Can you see?
Magic. There we go.
So it's called Securing Your Legacy. And I can't see myself. And I can't see you telling me to hold on. I just have to keep going back and forth. So just let me know if you need to stop me. And I want everyone to ask questions. As a matter of fact, I'm going to prompt you to ask questions. Also, I want to make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, or you're typing in your OneNote or whatever it is that you keep your notes, because I'm going to give you a ton of information. So it's called Securing Your Legacy, the crucial role of succession planning in the travel advisor community. By the way, I'm Jenn Lee. Sorry, we never even said who I am. Vacation planner.
I did.
Okay, good.
Don't worry.
Okay. President of the newly formed Vacation Planners franchise division of sister company of Travel Planners International. You might have known me from TPI. I've launched a franchise division. Super excited. So here's the thing. Here's really what I started thinking about several months ago. We have a problem. Steph, we have a problem. There is a consumer conundrum out there in the world. Where the consumer actually doesn't really understand what the travel advisor community can bring to their travel experiences. And I love this little quote, if working with a travel advisor were like a recipe, we'd be the industry serving up a different surprise casserole every single day. If you think about it, yeah. So listen, ChatGPT helped me with all this. Actually, Claude is my guy. Claude and I work on these things together. But if you think about it, no matter who you're talking to, there is a different way of us doing business with the consumer. So the consumer is like, okay, so Stephanie told me to call Jane, this travel advisor, and I call her, but I know there's a local travel advisor in my chamber, so I'm going to talk to that local travel advisor. Well, that story of how they do business with Bill from the Chamber of Commerce is completely different than the experience that Stephanie said that they had with Jane, their travel advisor. Too many different ways of us doing business, too many business models, charge fees, don't charge fees, sell all inclusives only sell Disney, only sell cruises, only sell luxury. I'm a generalist. I can do everything. Fill out this 12-page intake form. You name it. If you found 100 travel advisors, chances are there's 100 different ways that we're doing business. So no wonder the consumer is kind of scratching their head and they don't understand how to work with a travel advisor. This will all play a role in this legacy planning, I promise. So I want you to think about that. The consumer is completely confused. We have no expected consumer experience when they're working with a travel advisor. None. Then you top this off with the advisor anguish, right? Which is if being a travel advisor were a game show, we'd be contestants spinning a giant wheel every morning. One day it's I got to be a social media master. One day it's I've got to put together an itinerary. One day it's I've got to figure out how to be profitable. Another day is that I've learned new technology. Another day is I've got to find new customers. Every single day, actually every single hour, the advisor actually doesn't know where they're supposed to go. They're kind of spinning the wheel on what they should be doing every single day. And that really is what motivated me to say yes to Ken and Tony Gagliano, who've been begging me to start a franchise division of TPI, because I realized that we're never going to make the massive headway that we need to make in this industry for generation after generation after generation if we don't get some consistency of an expected experience. Part of that expected experience is a level of professionalism. Part of a level of professionalism is that we're attracting and talking to and training and educating individual advisors and agency owners to be true business owners. As a true business owner, you always have a succession plan of some sort. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And I was sharing with Steph earlier that I do this event. I used to do this event at TPI called Building Your Legacy. And it was really to answer the question, where do you want your business to be in the next 3 to 5 years? And how the heck are you going to get there? Right. And I always thought that it would just be advisors and agency owners that were coming in that maybe had been in the business like 4 years and they're ready to realize they need to put together a long-term plan. But I found it was brand new advisors, advisors of 5 years, 10 years. This last one, I had advisors that have been in the business 30, 35 years and realized one day I want to sell my business, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that from the succession planning portion of it, the foundational pieces that are needed for you to be able to make decisions later on in your business. And that, my friends, if you tuned in, are going to get today. Okay, so Steph, I don't know if I do this, oh, good, I can see everything. Okay, good.
Oh,
Okay, good. I can see you and my slides. Okay, good. I'm happy. All right, so I'm on a mission at Vacation Planners to elevate the professionalism within the travel agency community by embracing the best practices of that old brick and mortar day and infusing it with tomorrow's travel agency of tomorrow, today and tomorrow, to ensure a consistent experience so that consumers can say, of course I use a travel advisor, don't you? Isn't that the Xanadu? Don't we all want to do that, right? So
mm-hmm.
I have my first question for everybody. You have to answer this question, and this is the baseline to everything. What are you building towards? If you don't know where you're going, obviously you're never going to have the correct roadmap to get you there. And there are really only one of 5 answers. I think it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 answers. Here are the questions. Are you building to sell your business one day? And I want you guys to type this in. Are you building to sell one day? Are you building your agency to put yourself in a position to buy another agency one day? Are you building to hand over to a successor, the true legacy? I've got a daughter, a son, a sister who wants to take over this business one day. Or the most popular answer is, gosh darn it, Jen, I've never even thought about it. So for those that are watching live, which I'm hoping it's more than just Nicole, but for those that are watching, what are you building towards? What answer? Type in your answer. Building to sell, building to buy, building to hand over, or haven't even thought about it. While we're waiting for some answers, Steph, what are you building host agency reviews for?
Building to sell one day,
Building to sell one day. And to be a sellable agency, when somebody goes to buy, you don't want it to be, oh, I'm just selling my database, because and I know that's not true for you, Steph, because you have so many assets and blogs and followers and subscribers and stuff. But in the travel agency world, we don't necessarily have that. So The things that I'm going to start sharing with you now are going to put you in a perfect position to be able to present. And again, the reason why I started the franchise model, because it's easier to sell a national brand than your local brand, but to be able to present a solid game plan, a solid structure for someone to feel comfortable to buy. Okay. Okay. To hand over
Can I
successor.
share some answers
Yes,
that came
please.
in? Okay, because we've got a lot. So we've got Paula's successor, Danielle's a successor, Michaela is to buy, Michael is to buy, and Michael, I see you're on LinkedIn. If you want to come over on YouTube, that's where most of the comments are. So even though we're streaming,
Ooh.
and Rochelle, I see you're on Facebook, Stephanie's on LinkedIn. Come on over to YouTube. That's where the main comments are. But we've got Rochelle wants to sell, James wants to sell, Margie sell.
It's
Yeah,
okay to have the answer. Gosh darn it, I never even thought about it until right now, which is good.
mhm.
I love this. I didn't know this was streaming on LinkedIn.
Oh, we're
My girl,
everywhere, Jen.
you're
We're
everywhere. Okay,
everywhere.
my girl Allison, pay attention. I know you're listening to this. We need to stream to LinkedIn when we start doing things. Okay, so we've got those answers, right? Once you know where you're going, I want you to put your frame of thought for the next 4 tips or things that I'm going to tell you to do, which will help you.
Hmm.
So the next thing, number one thing after you have figured out where you want to go, number one thing you really want to do is you've got to organize your business. Just like you do for your travelers, you've got to give them a map. You got to know the secret codes. You've got to pack the guidebook. You've got to have unexpected detours covered, a hit by a bus plan, so to speak. So let's talk about the 3 things, and I'm going to keep things simple for you guys. I'm only going to recommend 3 per point, but the 3 things that I think are the most missed with the largest opportunity for depth in your business. Number 1, you've got to have a backup plan. The backup plan is who and how. And the backup plan is, my husband just got hit by a car. I need to focus on my family. What's the backup? Who's your backup? Who's another advisor if you don't have an associate that's working with you? Who's the advisor that's going to take over your bookings for you and take great care of your clients? How are they going to be able to have access to that? There's some really great technologies out there. Turn is a CRM that we are using at Vacation Planners, and they've got communities and ways for you to share easily your customer information, where you are in the quote process. But what is your backup plan? Have you identified that person? Have you sat down and put in writing how you're going to support one another through that backup? And it should be, back and forth. Now, most of you are part of a host agency. I sure hope you are, or part of a franchise or a consortia. What's their backup strategy for you? How do they support you? But you should have that idea. Number 2, let's just say you're the one that got hit by a car, and this happens all the time, or that you get super sick, or something happens and you are I'm sorry, we get sick, right? Something happens and we have to be pulled out unexpectedly. Who has access to all of your passwords and your logins? At TPI, and we'll have this at Vacation Planners as well, we put together hit by a bus plan where you tell us ahead of time who's the person that we can actually speak to on the phone. Where are all of your passwords? Do you have something like a LastPass that you can share a link to somebody that you can open when there is an emergency? Do you have all your passwords like I used to have them in a folder, like paper.
Jen,
Nobody.
wow.
So, where does everybody have their passwords right now? If something were to happen to you, is there someone that can access those logins to be able to ensure that your clients are getting, know when their final payment is, that you've closing that sales, whatever it is to take care of your clients. And then the third thing is, do you have a procedure and policy manual? And this is really with regards to really processes. Like, I want you guys to type in, are you working in a great CRM? And in that CRM, is there somebody else who is trained on how to manage that CRM and navigate through it? Do you have a process internally that you use? Maybe you don't have email automation set up and workflows set up yet through a CRM or through some technology. What's that process? Because if something were to happen, you want to have almost a book for someone to be able to go to. Now I'm going to give you a resource, Tango, Tango, and I'm sure there's others, but I like Tango. Tango. So Steph, if you sent me a video one day, you're like, Jen, here's how you upload the files, because she knows I don't know what I'm doing. So you used probably Loom or something,
Yep,
right?
I love Loom.
Loom. So what I will do is in Tango, it actually just follows your keystrokes and it creates a PDF with screenshots. So for someone who
Ooh.
learns better with paper, do this, then this, then this, then this, then this, you can download Tango and you literally just, as you're creating things, submitting your sale, reaching out to find your commissions, whatever it is, you can actually record those screenshots. They become PDFs and you can create your own process manual. Yeah. So that's really good.
So nice.
James, I see your question. No, TPI is not switching to Turn. This is a vacation planners franchise move that we are making. As advisor, access my clients. I'm working on SOPs. Great. Love Tango. Nicole, she's the smartest one here. She's posting more than anybody else. I need Allison and Tanya and everybody else to kind of pick up the pace. Let's start helping each other by posting stuff.
Yeah,
Hey,
and just for
Margie.
people that aren't familiar with SOP, that's standard operating procedures. That's like the procedure and policy manual. And Jen, can I just jump in and say, Loom just added a new functionality maybe within the last 8 months where it has the AI, like you do your video and you can select that you want it to create a SOP and it'll do the step-by-steps from your video. It doesn't do the screenshots though, which is really nice. Of course, you have the video though.
Right, but you have the video, but the step-by-step is good. All right, Allison, my girl Allison, who's listening, download Loom. We got to get to know Loom and Tango. Oh, by the way, I keep referring to Allison. She's Vacation Planners employee number 1, really number 2. I'm number 1. Number 1, she's our onboarding specialist. So yesterday was her very first day. So she's listening in to see what the heck her crazy boss does on a regular basis. Allison, there she is. I'm on it. Good girl. Okay. So organize, do those 3 things. I need to put together a backup plan, find somebody. I need to ensure that my passwords are in some sort of format that somebody has access to and my logins. And I need to start putting together and thinking about a policy and procedure manual. Okay, next. This is another thing that I see a lot of people not doing. They don't know how to safeguard their investment. So we're out here willy-nilly doing all kinds of stuff and things are in danger zone. And I'm not sure if you guys know that, but there's this thing called fraud out there and it is massive. And the travel industry is one of the top industry for scammers, for fishers, smishers, all those other ishers ishing you. They can pretend that they are somebody, they get into your email and they hang out for 6 months or so. So safeguarding this investment, which is your business, is super important. So here are the 3 things that I want you to do. Okay. I want you to enlist in some cybersecurity training. There is a company called Know Before. It's the word no, K-N-O-W, the letter B and the number 4, Know Before. And if the assistant here at Host Agency Reviews can find that and put that link in, that'd be great. They've got great cybersecurity training. We're going to provide this for all of our franchisees once a month where they'll go through a remedial training, 20-minute video at the most, and they'll get the latest and greatest on what the cyber folks, those thieves, are doing out there. Cybersecurity fraud and attacks are costing Americans billions, with a B, billions of dollars a year. They can take all of your data and hold it hostage until you pay them $25,000. So understand what it is that you can do. You are actually the number 1 preventer of cybersecurity or cyber fraud through your actions. Number 2, put together some fraud protection principles. If you've got admins or if you've got associates, we want them to understand what it is that they should and should not do. Last night, my girl Allison, we were dying for her to get into her email and she's like, I can do this without the 2FA. Do you want me to do it? I'm like, check it for 12 seconds and then get the heck out of there because we need that 2-factor authentication. So that's really great. And
Can
then
you
number
maybe
three.
jump in on what two-factor authentication is for those that aren't as familiar?
Oh, yeah. So you guys are going to start seeing this a lot. You have it on Facebook, you have it on many of your apps where they basically say, okay, you log in, but maybe you're in a different area, right? Maybe you all of a sudden you're in Rome, Italy, and you're logging into Facebook. Facebook might send you a thing and say, you know what, we're going to send a code to your authenticator app, which is on your phone. Actually, this is what it looks like. Hang on. This is kind of what it looks like. It's an authenticator app, and it will send a code that you can use just to your app. It'll send a code to allow you to put that in, and now it's authenticated you. It's telling you not only the password to log in, but we want a code or some other second form of approval. It could be we're going to send in a code to your email, we're going to text you a code, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so fraud protection principles. And then the third thing, I'm still blown away, Steph.
What's making you so sad, Jen? Let's talk about this.
I'm so sad. So many people still don't have terms and conditions, like in writing. And you've
That is
provided so many resources to help them have it. People, get it together. Do not do business with anybody until you have a terms and conditions that's specifically to your agency. And I'm a massive supporter of y'all charging fees, even if it's just modification fees or cancellation fees. That actually safeguards your investment of time, right? So when you book, even if you don't do a concierge fee, but if you start implementing a modification fee, which means after 48 hours, after I've taken your credit card and I've made the booking for you, right? We've confirmed it with Delta Vacations or with Royal Caribbean. If you've got to make a change, that's a $50 fee, because you have to safeguard your time. It does two things. One, it ensures that you and your customer are really double checking. Are you sure this is what you want? Because once I do this, and we can change it, but it's a $50 fee for every time I make a change, it will slow them down, or you'll just make more money. For people like me, like, I don't care. I'm wealthy, which I'm not, but I just say it. I'm wealthy. I don't care. I need to change it. My son can't go now. My best friend's going. I got to make that change. So start implementing fees, because that's safeguarding your investment of time. You're making money for every action that you're taking. So cancellation fees and modification fees, just start there. Preach. Yes. Yikes is right. I don't know who Take the Helm is. Oh, is that
that's
our girl
Rita.
Rita? Hey,
Yeah.
Rita girl. Yeah, Rita and I are. And then terms and conditions. Now, if you have a really good CRM, like a Travel Joy or a Turn, I'm a huge fan of Turn. I'm going to mention Turn. They don't pay me to talk about it, but we love them. They actually have terms and conditions, credit card authorizations, accepting of fee schedule stuff built right in, where your clients are approving line item by line item so that you can avoid chargebacks. So safeguard your investment with having cybersecurity training, fraud protection principles, and terms and conditions and fee schedule. First off, just because I have a fragile ego, isn't this good stuff? Like, this is stuff people don't think about.
No, it really isn't. And people don't talk a lot about the tech and the importance behind two-factor authentication. I mean, my team will tell you I'm paranoid about something like
Yeah.
this and someone taking over our social accounts. Everything's
Yeah.
it's obnoxious to log in because it takes longer. But every time I get annoyed, I think this is so much easier than having to deal with my entire livelihood being locked out of.
Exactly. Because you've made this massive investment, and in one fell swoop, someone could take it from you, really, honestly, without
Hmm.
your permission. Danielle was asking, is there a general terms and conditions we can use? Danielle, one of the biggest things that you can do and should do is join ASTA, American Society of Travel Advisors, which is your travel advisor association. They have a generic terms and conditions you can start with. If you're not part of ASTA, you need to join today. That is another part of being a professional in this profession. Hope that helps. Okay. And then I don't know, Steph, if you've got anything.
We've got, I think
Yeah.
Mariel will pop something in the comments. Don't worry, Danielle, we got you covered too.
You're good to go. Okay, so client continuity is another way of ensuring that you are building a legacy. This goes back to what is the process? How are you taking care of your clients? I want you to any think about any brand that you do business with on a regular basis. Like the branding stays consistent, the messaging and the feel stays consistent. When you call them, they know who you are. So I'm a huge Delta fan. So when I call, the system automatically knows that it's me and it says, "Welcome back, Jennifer." That's how often I call. I know the voice. "Welcome back, Jennifer." And when I get somebody on the phone, the first thing they say is, "Thank you for being a diamond million miler. We appreciate your business." And then they can see the notes from the previous conversations with other call center staff. That's called client continuity versus you call in every time, you got to give your phone number. It's like, "I just called you. Don't you know my phone number?" Or you give your frequent flyer number and they're like, in the and when you press it in, then when they answer, "Can I get your frequent flyer number?" I'm like, "I just
Oh,
gave it to you."
yep.
There's nothing more frustrating, right? So understand that your brand is your North Star, and it really ensures that if you have a strong brand and some consistency in the way that you're speaking to your clients, they are going to feel this continuous, this consistency, and that helps people feel comfortable doing business with you. So here are the three things that you can do to help ensure that you have client continuity. One, manage your customer relationships. And this is really about ensuring every time you're talking to a customer, every time you're sending an email to them, every time you're communicating with them, you are logging this in your CRM. And again, get a CRM that makes it easy for you to do this. Number one. Number two, make sure that, and this is another reason why people are joining vacation planners is because we do all their marketing for them, because I've heard this so many times, Stephanie. "I wish I had enough time to pick up the phone and call my clients and see what's next for them." Like, how many times do people get buried? Once you get busy, you get buried in reactive mode and you have tough time being proactive, right? And you want to be able to say, "I need to call all my clients once a year, and maybe January is the month to do it, or October is the month to do it," whenever that is, and say to them, "Tell me what's important to you in the next 12, 16, 18, 24 months. I want to be on the lookout for that type of trip for you," right? And then in a good customer relationship management tool and a good CRM, you're going to tag. "They told me they want to go to Japan one day. They told me they have a bucket list to do the Danube River or to go see tulip time. You know what? They really want to be able to take their kids out to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, but it's super expensive. How can we ever do that?" You can tag them. And then every so often, take a look at your data and find out so you can be proactive. That's client continuity. Number two, segment your database. This is one of the most powerful things that you can do. Steph, have you ever registered for a conference and then you keep getting emails saying you only got 6 more days to register? You only got 2 more
Yep.
days to register.
Hmm. I do,
I
and
can't.
it's obnoxious.
It's obnoxious. Because then I'm like, "Did I register?" Because I'm kind of like an ADD I'm like, "Did I
Where
register?
am I?
Where am I? Where is it going? Maybe I registered." Instead, client continuity says, "Thank you for registering." And now all of my emails that I received after that are based on the fact that I've already registered. My messaging is speaking to me. There's nothing that irritates somebody more than going, "You don't know who I am, and you don't know where we are in the process." So a good CRM will help you with that. And then establish some brand guidelines for your brand. And what I mean by that is, what is the tone of your brand? What is the feeling? What are the brand promises that you are giving to your client? Does your website say, "We're available for you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We've got you covered"? But every time somebody sends an email to you, it says, "We're too busy to talk to you. It'll be at least 48 hours before we get back to you. We're busy traveling the world." You've broken your brand. Even in your color schemes, even in your writing style. And this is where AI can help quite a bit. I personally, I use Claude. I use a lot of them. I use Claude for my writing partner, but I got to tell you, I'm digging Grammarly. Grammarly's
Hmm.
got a great AI assistant, and in it, you can say, "Set your voice." And so you tell it, what's the voice? And so every time it reads things that you've written, because I tend to write the way I talk, which is not correct writing style, Steph. I'm just saying.
I'm the exact same way. I think it drives Mary, who has her MBA
Oh
uh
yeah.
and I don't even know writing, creative writing, and I'm like, I know the adverb or whatever term it is, I used it wrong, but I don't care.
I don't care. And I can't put a comma in the right place to save my life. The number of proofreaders in my life that will say, "Oh my God, great message, Jen, but can I just tell?" Okay, ex-English teacher, I know I don't know where to put the commas. I'm lost by all of this. I'm just like, that's not my jam. You know what? My gift is the gift of gab. My gift is sharing information and speaking to you. I got other people in my life, and now I've got AI people in my life that help me out. So Grammarly's great,
Yeah.
Claude is great to help stick with those brands, but come up with a brand guideline. Know your hex numbers, your hex color numbers, right? If you've created a logo, what are the colors that are in your logo that you should be able to use throughout? You'll notice, even though my background is a little different on each slide, you're going to see it's the continuity of the font. Nothing I can't stand worse. And I bet Margie knows this because I know she's seen a ton of PowerPoint presentations where there's different fonts on every screen. Please, customers feel comfortable when they're working with someone who's got some consistency to them. So client continuity. Oh,
Jen,
Nicole, you're married? Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on managing the customer relationships because there's also this question from independent travel advisors about putting all their traveler profile information into the CRM. And I know you're going to say, yes, that's like the
Into
core.
the right CRM. Here's the thing. There are some CRMs that are not PCI compliant. So I don't know what CRM you're using or not using, but you need to make sure that they are following the highest of compliance levels when it comes to securing your client's data for fraud reasons. I know
Yeah.
Travel Joy does a great job, and I know Turn does a great job. I'm not speaking negatively about the others. I only know those two very well with regards to PCI compliance.
And you can actually, on our new travel agency software profiles, there's a section on security and it'll say, are they PCI compliant? Do they have two-factor authentication?
Yes,
So if you haven't
that's
checked
good.
those out, but Jen, with this managing the customer relationships,
Mhm,
so important to put it in the CRM because you're talking about AI and
mhm,
what's going to be the next step with AI is it's going to go
mhm,
into your CRM and help you segment it
mhm,
out and help
mhm,
you be able
mhm.
to do this. So
Turns doing that already with AI, so they read your emails for you and they find those confirmations and make it easy for you to throw those confirmations right into the customer profile. The one thing that PCI compliance, the number one, not the number one thing, but a really important thing is you can't store clients' credit card numbers and their CVV in the same file. So when you're talking to that CRM, ask them, if I put the CVV in, is it is in a separate file from a PCI compliance standpoint? It's got to be in a completely different file in the back end so that it can't be connected to the credit card. And most of them are working towards that, if not done that, or encryption, things like that.
Mhm.
Boy, I really sound like I know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying.
Quick
Whoop,
follow-up
whoop.
question on,
Oh,
um,
Zoho is good as well. Zoho is very good. Yes.
yeah. So asking, is it important to put in the personal data like likes, dislikes, that sort of
Yes.
thing? Rather,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. And remember, so as an example, Delta has all my likes and dislikes. Okay. And it's mostly where I want to sit.
I was
Right.
going to say
And
aisle or window.
I'm an aisle person. I am an
Okay.
aisle person. So they'll always put me in an aisle, but now I have to tell them I'll take an aisle as long as it's not bulkhead. I can't stand bulkhead. I'll take a window if it's non bulkhead. So it's okay to reconfirm. Hey, I just want to reconfirm. You're still wanting to do this, 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 and this, but have it right there in your CRM. And independent travel advisor, Zoho is very good, a very good CRM. All right. As a matter of fact, TPI is building their back office off of Zoho CRM. Okay, the next thing that I find a lot of people don't think about is they don't start thinking about how to nurture whoever their successor is going to be, whether it's going to be somebody that you are going to pass it down to, or someone that you want to sell your business to. You've got to start planting the seeds now. And part of it is kind of understanding what role you want to play. All right. So let's look at the 3 things that I'm going to suggest with that. So one of the questions to ask yourself as you're starting to think about, I need to nurture a successor, and this could be somebody that takes over in 10 years, right? Maybe you've hired somebody in your agency. Maybe you've noted that there's a really good friend that is going to retire in a few years and they're going to join you as an associate. Maybe it is your daughter or a family member. You've got to ask them this question: what's motivating them to want to take over your agency? The answer to that question will tell you everything about whether or not they're going to be a good successor. So let's use you, Stephanie, as an example. I'm not sure if you've been nurturing a successor or not, but let's just say you've got Billy over here who you've identified, and Billy has said, yeah, I think I want to take over your business. And you ask, what's motivating you to want to take it over? What would be an answer that would tell you, Billy is not going to take over this baby because Billy doesn't get it? What would be an answer, a bad answer from Billy?
Oh, I would say someone saying, I just can't wait to go on all the awards trips and I can't wait to be wined and dined. And, there's a lot more to running a business than that.
Bingo. In your world as an agency owner, if your agency is, you know what, we are cruise focused and we love helping our biggest value is that we help our clients get great deals. And I'm going to tell you, some of the largest cruise focused, especially cruise focused agencies are all about the deal. They're finding the best value overall, don't get me wrong, but they're partnered with a host agency and a consortia that's getting really great group pricing, right? So if you are somebody who focuses on that, and then somebody says, yeah, I'm not really worried about offering promotions and discount, that's not your person. It's got to be somebody who has kind of the same heart, idea of culture, or is elevating what you've started already. That's the type of person that you want as a successor. But honestly, Steph, your answer is perfection, because one of the things that happens in the travel industry, and I'm sure those of you who have associates who people are like, I want to do what you do. You want to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and like gain weight and lose weight all at the same time, and be sleep deprived, and not see your family, and your family goes on vacation and you're stuck in the hotel room. That's what you want to do. That's where a lot of advisors are. I'm trying to solve that with vacation planners, but that's where a lot of advisors are, because people, all they do is see all the good stuff that you're doing. So what's motivating them is a really great question. Number 2, what role do you want to play versus your successor? Steph, I think I've told you this a couple of times now. People do not retire from this industry. Have you noticed that?
My parents are a perfect example. They're supposedly retired and they're not.
They basically die. And I tell them this in their face. Nobody retires from this industry. They basically hang on until they die. Now, some are selling, and I have met a few, but most of them are waiting to close to death before they're like, yeah, okay, now I'm going to get out. So it's important to understand that you might want to still play a role in your business. Steph, you might not want to. When you're ready to sell, you might be able to go, I'm done. I've sold it to the right person. I've handed this baby over to the right person. I trust them. Very similar to what we do with our kids during the day and we send them off to school. I trust that you're going to take great care of them.
Yep.
So be very clear on what role you want to play, and understand your own personality. And as I'm sure your parents understand that they're never going to retire, that they're involved.
Yep.
And if that is what is the word I'm looking for, clearly communicated, you have no issues. If it's not, it can be challenging. And then number 3, if you've identified somebody that you think could be somebody you would be wanting to sell this to, hand over if there was an emergency long term, start involving them now. Ask them about them. Ask those questions. Start getting them more involved. And I think that's a great play for you to really make sure that your legacy is being fulfilled. So here is how you secure your legacy. Here's your checklist, guys. Number 1, you got to decide what you're building towards. Number 2, organize your business for that what if scenario. Number three, safeguard your business's assets and minimize those threats that are out there. They're there, guys. This is not a gosh, it's never going to happen to me type scenario. It's going to happen. Number four, design a client continuity checklist and check often. One of the things you can do is take a look at what does your description of your business, what does it say? And I have to do this every so often. Allison, you're going to be doing this for us. Every so often I have to go to LinkedIn, I have to go to Facebook, I have to go to multiple places and say, and the website, are we saying the same thing? Because sometimes I wake up at 4 a.m. and I change my messaging and I forgot to do it everywhere else. Clients need a continuity, an expected experience, and they want to feel comfortable in consistency. And then finally, keep a keen eye out for talent and your future successor. My call to action to y'all is if any of this resonated and you really liked it, I actually just launched a new Facebook group called Legacy Driven. It's really designed to bring together folks in the travel industry, whether you're an advisor, agency owner, you work for a consortia, a brand, whatever. But it's really about bringing together our collective expertise to create a timeless impact. And a lot of what I talked about is timeless. This is not rocket science. There's nothing really super new. This is business basics. And together, I want us to redefine what the travel excellence is and really elevating our industry's future through understanding that we are responsible for the legacy of this industry. So just go to Facebook, go to Legacy Driven. I think it's called Legacy Driven Travel Professionals Building Our Future.
Mary will find it. And
thank you, Mary. Thank God for Mary, right?
She's a researcher. She's a researcher. She can find it.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next is if you want to chat with me for anything, just want to run an idea past me, I am open to everybody. Just send me an email at jen@vacationplanners.com. Okay?
Love it. Yeah, popping questions as you have them. But so this was a great overview on like things to start preparing and thinking about, and really great. Do you have any tips for people once they're at that point where they're getting ready to sell? Tips for them on that, on how to prepare their business, things like that.
Well, anyone who's willing to purchase your, first off, there's a great Trade Secrets podcast episode. Mary, if you can find it, on how to sell your business. It's from like a year ago. I cannot remember the name of the guest speaker. His name is
Bob. Was it Bob?
Yeah. Yes, Bob.
Yeah, with innovative travel acquisitions.
Yeah, so listen to that. It's a great one. But here's what I am finding. I've got several friends that are trying to sell their agency, and what they went and did is said, this is how much money we've made over the last few years. So we've projected that this is how much money, our agency is worth. It's not worth any of that because, quite frankly, unless you have contracts, there is no guarantee all those customers are going to actually come back to you. So setting up some of the things that we're talking about right now and being able to say to a potential buyer, here's the CRM that's fully built out with all the data, all of our booking data so that you can go in and forecast. Here are our policy and procedure manuals. Here's our consortia or our host agency contract. Those are assets, right? Those are assets that will make your business more viable for when you get ready to sell. Number one. Number two, I would assume that you need to talk to somebody about, and I think I saw somebody said, independent travel advisors said, I thought retirement meant just looking after a handful of clients you would actually want to travel with. Ha ha. Oh, good. I'm glad you put the ha ha on me because that's not what it is. But you could say, I want to sell my book of business to you, but I want to stay on for the next 2 years and I want to take care of these 15 clients. Everybody else that comes in is yours, and I will help with that transition period. You'll get to say as the new owner, I still have Frank is still part of the agency. He's just taking a smaller role. That helps the clients feel more comfortable, and then they will stay. But from a pricing standpoint, there's probably a dollar amount that's way smaller than you want it to be. And then you negotiate a % of the commissions coming in over the next 2 years based on your involvement.
Mm-hmm. We'll also pop in a link during Host Week last year. Mark Casto and I did one on getting ready to sell your agency, that talks a lot about the logistics behind it. That's a really
Mhm.
great resource. Great question. What's your thoughts on an agency protecting its brand via trademarks? They're getting the domains, etc.
Yeah, so domains don't protect you against squat, but trademarks do. I 100% support that. We had to do that at Vacation Planners, and I was crossing my fingers that nobody else had trademarked it. There are some others that were close, but not the
Mm,
word Vacation Planners. TPI did not trademark in the beginning, and there's 5 other travel planners internationals out there. They're very small agencies across the country, but nobody can trademark it. I think actually we're trying to trademark it now, but by all means, trademark your business. Also, as an example, let's talk about URLs. I've purchased legacy driven travel podcast.com because I do want to launch a podcast one day that's called Legacy Driven. That doesn't mean somebody else can't launch a podcast, but at least I have the URLs to make it a little more difficult for them to do that.
hmm Yeah, and with the trademarks, because I know some of you may be newer to the industry that are tuning in, and we're so glad you are here because so
Yes.
smart to start early. Um, but you aren't able to like issue a trademark right away. You're going to have to wait about a year to show that you're using it and all these things. So that's just something to be aware of. A year, 1 month in is a little too early for them to say yes, you can have this trademark.
Right. That you can file for it, but they're not gonna actually issue it until they see you've got Facebook, you've got materials, you've got clients, you've got.
And it's expensive, so wait, or find a good trademark attorney, and they can give you that info before you invest all this money in trying to do a trademark.
Yeah, and then go back to ASTA because I bet ASTA's got some trademark attorneys, or some of the attorneys can help you through that.
Mhm.
Ours is too generic, so couldn't be trademarked. Correct. So let's talk. Do we have still time? Do we have time to
Yep,
chat?
yeah, we've still got 15-ish minutes.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So you've developed independent travel advisors. Okay, that's your trademark. I mean, that's your company name. That's cool. You know how you really create a brand when everybody knows that that is you, and that comes a lot through client consistency and continuity. Really being solid with your brand, where you're kind of just taking it over, and everybody knows that's who you are.
Mhm.
There's really no original names out there, words really. There's no original words out there. Like you can't trademark Apple, right? They could trademark Apple from the computer standpoint, but they can't really trademark because the word Apple is also used for apples. But when we say Apple, we know it's Apple, right?
Mhm.
We don't refer to, hey, make sure you have an Apple computer, or did you buy that at the Apple store? It's become part of our vernacular. So even if you can't officially trademark, and I'm sure Apple, the computer, is trademarked, I would think. I don't know. I need to check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I would think, but I guess the tree couldn't trademark itself. It doesn't have an attorney. It doesn't know how to write. So, anyways, yes.
That's
So
one of the problems, Jen.
that could be one of the challenges. But really, I mean, if it's too expensive to trademark, really just make your stake in the ground based on who you are. So it's not there's no mistake. Listen, there are those that are of you that have either tuned in live or watching this later on. There was something about the title and the description that resonated with you. That's why this is good stuff for you. There are many people out there like, I just want to book travel. Well, if you just want to book travel, that's great. All we ask for in the industry is that you do it legally, ethically, and morally, and that you do it correctly, right? Personally, I think this industry, and I'm not all about this barrier of entry. I'm not talking about everyone's got to, I'm not into federal regulations. I don't think we should have this license. I don't think any of that. What I think we need to do is elevate the expectation so that when somebody calls a professional travel agency or a professional travel advisor, that's a consistent professional experience. And then when they talk to somebody who's like, here's my card, go onto my website and just book it yourself, that's going to feel so far off that they're not even in the same category with us.
Mhm.
I'm really passionate about this. I don't know if you can pick up on that stuff.
I pick up your passion on everything, Jen. You're
Mary
brimming
said
with
the
it.
tree. Yeah, Mary said the tree needed Claude. So true.
That'll solve everything. And now it
Exactly.
can trademark its apple.
Yeah. So I know we've got a few minutes left and we can either end early or you guys can ask me any question because I'm going to tell you
That's fantastic.
between myself and Steph, we're wicked smart. Like we know a lot. Our
Yeah.
background is sales, marketing, business here for you. So feel free to ask any questions whatsoever.
Yeah.
Or
And
Steph, you ask away.
well, yeah, I've got a question, but I wanted to say for independent travel advisors, um, when you have, because host agency reviews is also a descriptive name and very generic. And so it was a lot harder to get a trademark, but you can still get a trademark, especially over time if you've built a really strong brand.
Hmm.
You have to go about it a little bit more patiently, and you should
Hmm.
work with an experienced trademark advisor because I cannot tell you they are expensive, but they know the way around the trademark system, which
Hmm.
is I can't even figure it out when I go to their site. So um I think there's a Friday 15 where we have the trademark attorney on that I work with. If you want to pop that in for independent travel advisors, because I think that we covered that topic.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Take advantage of everything that Host Agency Reviews provides to you. I mean, Steph and the team have really built up a massive library. I go to it all the time. Allison, by the way, make sure you're following Host Agency Reviews. Isn't it funny? This is how I get to train Allison while I'm doing something else at the same time.
I
Um,
love it. Well, Jen, okay, so one of the things I'm thinking about, all of these things are great for implementing. When you're looking and you're getting ready to sell, if you don't have a successor in mind, where are the best places to go within the industry to try to find people? Like, do you go to your host agency, to your consortium? Who would you recommend?
100%. I would start with my host agency. If you're part of a host agency or your consortia, you should know people in the industry, right? If you've just been stuck at home this entire time, it's going to be tough to find somebody. I know there's brokers out there, and I'm not poo-pooing brokers at all. But honestly, this is really about this is a relationship business. This is a relationship sale. This is not. I mean, if you think about it, Steph, every time, let's just use cruise lines as an example. A cruise line goes through like a major leadership change, which we saw over the last few years with almost all of them. A major leadership change, if it's done right, there's a little bump, but if it's not done right, it's like it can ruin everything that you've
Hmm.
done. So I think it's important to be thinking about it now. Have those conversations, attend events where you're getting a chance to meet other advisors and ask about them. You know,
Hmm.
if you see somebody, ask them, tell me about your business. Tell me, how long have you been in business? And then if you've been around for 20 years or 30 years, celebrate those that are entering the industry.
Yeah.
There's definitely people who've entered the industry under the wrong premise, right? Maybe they were attracted by a particular type of marketing, or somebody told them, oh, it's easy. You can just book your own personal travel and get discounts. But I think there's a lot of them that then get into it and they go to an event, a cruise world or a cruise 360, or maybe a local event that their host agency is doing, or ASA or something like that. And they meet others and they're like, oh, there's a lot more to this. So
Yeah.
when you do that, be curious about those other people. Ask them, what's your plan? What's your goal with all of this? Be
Hmm.
curious.
Exactly. The networking is so important in building those. And another great place to check would be, I would think, with BDMs too, because they
Oh,
have
yes,
and
that's
to
great.
say like, hey, you know how I work and what my personality is. Do you know any other advisors that you think might be like a good fit? And in the
Perfect.
beginning, you don't have to be like, I'm planning for my retirement in 20 years. You can
Yeah.
say, I'm just, I'm looking for someone to work with on leads when I'm out of the office, anything
Yeah.
along those lines.
Or is there anybody that you know that's kind of similar to, I was talking to an advisor the other day, and she serves a very specific community, right? The Indian community, Indians who have moved over here to the United States. And they, just like most really strong Communities have very specific traditions, very specific things that you should and should not say. We all have that, right? Southerners, you got to ask about the mayonnaise. The Northerners don't care about the mayonnaise. You don't say pop down in the South, you say it up in the North. We all have our thing, right? So she and I were talking. She's going to purchase one of our franchises, and we were going to make sure her website's got all the right verbiage and the pictures and all that. But we started talking about what is her success? What happens if something happens to her? She's got to start thinking about who's the person that can swoop right in that understands that community. So even just starting to think about it now, even if you don't have the answer, but really talking about it and talking to others, then you're antennas up, right? Like Dave
Yeah.
Meyhofer, who was my replacement at TPI, he always has antennas up. Like once you kind of start thinking about it, your radar is up.
That's so great. And then one thing to check in too is I know some consortia, and I don't know about host agencies.
Mhm,
I wouldn't think hosts would have this in their contract, but they'll have a first right of refusal if you're looking
mhm.
something in their contract that you have to go to them first, and then they can say, we do or don't want to buy that. So check your
Mhm.
contracts if you're an
Great
independent
point.
advisor with those consortia.
I have not seen that in any of the contracts, but I haven't read them all. So that's really interesting. I would like to be, I'm not going to put it in my contract for vacation planners, but hey, ask us first. Like, why go outside the family? Like, ask us first.
Well, it also makes a lot of sense if you're looking to sell and find a partner because it's going to be a lot less friction when it's, especially for, say, the franchise. They're going to know the exact system. They're going to
Right.
literally plug and play it into the branding's all the same. And same with consortia, you're using a lot of the same tools. So you're a
Correct.
lot more likely to have a successful acquisition if it's within your network, you're using the same tools, you're all familiar with things.
Yeah, and they kind of understand the vernacular of the benefit of certain tools, right? Just because you say, "Oh, we have a hotel collection booking tool," that doesn't mean anything to the average
Hmm.
Joe who doesn't have a hotel booking engine booking tool. So it's an excellent point. I would definitely start there, but just
Hmm.
the antennas up, and I will make sure. So, Steph, how should I get all of this? How should I get this PowerPoint over to everybody? Because there was some good stuff in there, and I'm not sure if they were taking pictures or taking good notes or.
They're probably taking pictures of us, so not the. We better just give them the slides. They were just zooming in on us. Um,
100%. Why would you not?
Send it over to Rita, and
Okay.
Rita will make sure to get it out. She'll get the slides. We'll get the links that we talked about. Those will also be in the show notes for everyone because there's a lot of stuff to cover. Jen did an amazing job getting you to think about things and what to start putting in place. But there are a lot of pieces to this puzzle. So start exploring. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
It is, and it's fun to start thinking. Don't help, you know, don't get overwhelmed by it. Choose one thing. Start with the backup plan, and then maybe cybersecurity training, like two little things.
Hmm.
Just start there.
Exactly.
Start there. Yeah, that's good. This was really good. Margie, thank you. That's a high compliment coming from you. Thank you. I
Everybody.
love it.
So great to see so great to
I've
see everyone.
got a
Yay.
fragile ego. I need lots of compliments. I tell people that all the time. Like, are you serious? I'm like, oh no, you can ask anybody who works with me, and you can ask my husband. They've got a nice guy. You have to say nice things to me at all times. That's my love
Oh,
language. Is just saying nice things.
yeah. Well, Jen, I'll tell you something really nice. Really appreciated you coming on today, sharing your expertise and getting people. I really applaud because you'll see every once in a while within the industry something about succession planning or thinking about it, but it's not a conversation people have very often. And when I got sick like a decade ago, I was like in my early 30s. I just started my company 2 years prior, and there was, I had never thought anything could happen to me. I was so healthy before. And that was really, really eye opening for me. Your life can change in an instant, and it's important. It worked out okay, but I wish I would have thought about these things and set things up because I didn't work for 2 years and didn't do anything on this site because nothing was prepared for anybody. And I was in no shape to tell anybody how to run the company. I couldn't even think and get out of bed. So,
Yeah.
um,
And even if it's not that big of a deal, what about like really going on a good vacation? Like,
Mm,
can you really disconnect for 2 weeks? right? So Allison, who is getting a crash course, sorry to say it, she's getting a crash. Allison's going to know a lot because I do want to go. I haven't taken a vacation in almost 2 years. So it's kind of like, you got to listen, it's time to get your lives back, guys. And a lot of times being prepared allows you to feel confident to be able to step away for a little bit, recharge your batteries, take great care of your health, as well as spend time with the people that at the end of the day, you wish you had spent more time with.
Exactly. Beautiful, beautiful way to close things out. We are going to put a link in to Vacation Planner's profile. So those that are interested in learning more about this new franchise division and seeing what's out there. And of course, you can contact Jenn. Is it Jenn L at Vacation Planners or Jenn?
You can do it either way. I've got Jenn L, Jenn Lee, and Jenn. But if you don't want to type so much, just put in Jenn, Jenn, at vacationplanners.com. It all comes to me.
Perfect. Oh, James is offering to book your travel. So
Oh, thank you, James. It's not vacation though. I'm going on the Celebrity Beyond in 2 weeks. I'm doing the Virgin 2-night thing. So if anyone's going to be on Virgin Voyages for 2 nights, try to find me. Yeah.
lots of travel up there.
I've got a vacation planned somewhere in 26, I think, honestly. I'm here for you. I'm just doing it for you guys.
And we don't want you to burn out. So take those vacations, Jenn.
Will do. Now that I've got Allison.
Yes. Well, thank all of you for joining us because Jenn and I are fun, but it would not be as fun if it was just us. So we really appreciate you all being so encouraging, asking great questions in the comments, sharing your experiences. Please keep us updated on how things are going. If you're watching this later, which I know a lot of you are, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments. Either Jenn or I will make sure to answer those for you. And I think that's about it. Anything else you want to say, Jenn?
No, I've got to go to the little girl's room. And so I think it's okay for us to say goodbye.
Let's say goodbye then. Thank you all for joining us. We will again send out, if you're registered, the links that we talked about today, as well as the PowerPoint. So have a wonderful Wednesday, everyone, and we will see you soon.
Bye, everybody.